So welcome everyone. This is our next podcast session, Charting Minds, talking about the latest trends in our industry and of course talking with experts about the latest trends. Today I'm very honored to have here Wulf Schlachter, one of the pioneers of this industry. But Wulf, happy to have you introduced by yourself, who you are, what are you doing in the industry and how long you already are in the industry.
Yeah, thanks, Christian. I still remember that I'm almost 10 years ago, first time on your ICNC. So I think, as far as I know, even with COVID, it's my 10th time being here. So I'm really honored. And if someone tells me that I'm original from that period, maybe, but well, to be honest, it's you as well to be very kind. So I think we started at the same time, but I have a different history. So starting in the IT industry in the 90s, doing lots of things, funny things for big players like FC Bayern Munich. I built the first CRM system and CMS, so nothing is charging.
Yeah.
So it was simply we built the first website for them and also a content management system. Also other football clubs founded a company called Sportal, still existing. And then I carved out and was one of the founders of a company in Gütersloh, which was called MediaWays. Later on, it was bought by Telefonica, so big telco giant.
Yeah.
So I joined this journey and did a lot of M&A business there, and also I was business consultant for the big players. Like you have as well here on the conference, players from Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, and so on, building networks for them. So typically VPN networks at the very first beginning, or DSL, dark fiber links, wherever you have to go to. So Atacama Desert connected with Munich and these kind of things for specific scientists and so on. So this was part of my game. And I decided to leave Telefonica when I was doing the business, especially on consumer side, because this was not my intention. So I was more B2B focused. So I carved out, built my own company in 2017, and I was looking for use cases in the market. And so far I was very early with cloud services, but nowadays it's common, also starting in virtualization of things. And so I decided to build my company not in Germany. So I started in Dubai, because there I thought that smart city project would be very great for me to have some proof of concept on that, and then to replicate it and to bring it into the market. So I was one of the founders in the region also for smart cities. Well, maybe you heard about, if you have been to Abu Dhabi, Masdar City and Dubai and so on. So these are part of my game. Later on, I came to Germany and built a company for Bosch. Ugly name at this time, Bosch Connected Devices and Solutions. Was it connected services, devices, solutions, connected devices, whatever? No one can remember on the name. At the end of the day, nowadays, it's Bosch AI. And so you see what we've built up in the past. It was the first platform which was working, I would say, cross-industry on IoT devices. And this was also my starting point, take a look into the charging experience. And I know that you are also working with Bosch in the very early times. So we crossed ourselves at this time, not as far as I can remember.
At least not in person, yeah. At least not in person.
But from the investor side, we also worked with the same guys at Bosch side. And so I decided later on, even working on some use cases with Bosch. So I was also asked for, can you help, Wulf? We need someone who supports us in a selling of products. So we are talking about LiDAR systems, radar, sensors, and so on. And on the other side of the table, I had a guy called Elon sitting, and he was buying things, or tried to buy things from Bosch. As far as you can remember, at this time, Bosch was only selling products which were 101% ready for market.
Indeed.
And so it was the first one, I would say, first business approach for where someone bought some, I would say, not 100% ready to market products from Bosch. So I was the initiator, I was the man in the middle and trying to negotiate all the relationships between Bosch and Tesla.
Okay, good to hear. So it seems customer experience as well as connectivity was part of your working life since ever. What was for you the final step then entering the EV space?
So the final step was having discussed with Elon Musk at this time. I was not convinced about building cars or something like that. I was not the car guy. I had no intention to build an electric car like he did, because I knew, well, it could be very painful in this time. So 2012, 13, no one was thinking about, let's build an EV outside the existing economy in Germany or in Europe. So I was more thinking about the infrastructure side, because if you are a telco guy and an IT guy, then you feel a little bit more safe to set up these kind of things. So, well, the first funding came later in 2015, and as you know, I was also one of the founding guys on the Ionity side before it was called European High Power Charging. So from that point, you were quite early as well on the table on our side, and that was my starting point. But I was not focusing on, how we say, German business only. So I have scaled my business intensively. We just made an audit how many countries we reach with any kind of charging services in the last years. So mainly building a CPO as a service model or something like that, or even nowadays improving existing networks. I just came back from an audit from Portugal and Spain, simply checking old chargers. What can you do with the sites? Is it still, how we say, a premium A side, or does it have changed the models and so on? And that's what I'm doing with my people around the world nowadays. So from New Zealand to Finland, or from US to China, we have been everywhere almost. Some exits as well, as you know as well. We are working a lot in the Middle East and also in Asia. So having some new projects in Pakistan and also India, and some others in Middle East as well. So the game is not over. So there's still some starting activities and coming back to the year of 2016 or 17 when we started in Europe.
Yeah, I think that's very much matches with our perspective, the subject that e-mobility is a global topic, right? It's a global industry, and I think you have proven really well how much the whole industry is now lifting up in markets which have maybe been a bit not very much in the focus yet, but become really relatively relevant now. Wolf, thanks for sharing insights to you as a person and your experience. Really, really impressive. As you worked in the telco industry, and again, I'm probably not the first person asking you this but how would you compare the EV industry with the telecommunication industry? Also remembering a bit when telecommunication industry started, we had very clunky mobile phone devices. We had a lot of complexity on pricing, right? Call by call, pre-select tariffs. We all remember how complicated it was, and probably it was not as cheap as it could have been. But do you see similarities? Do you see similar developments? Would be great to hear your insights on this.
Yes, definitely. You see comparisons on the commercial side as well as on the technology side. So technology platforms were, how we say, at the very first beginning, very closed loop built. So it was very difficult to add new functionalities or services. And even if you think about payment platforms or accounting, billing, and so on, that was always a pain at the very first beginning, because the development lead times were over and over longer than expected, to say it like this. We had the same on our side now in the EV charging industry. The same we had on commercialization in the, I would say, pricing topics. As you can remember, in the early times, you had to pay per, how to say, per megawatt, not per megawatt, for megabyte, but also nowadays you pay for the kilowatt hour in sessions. Yeah. And later on, as you know, the telco industry started with classical unlimited tariffs. So that's a way how I could imagine it will work in the future as well. And yet you also see some I would say, movements into this direction. It's still a topic, but anyway, I would say that this could be a business model, because what I learned during my telco times, each small piece of, how we say, movement you have in your backend system causes, how we say, costs.
Yeah.
And the more costs you have, this is mainly depending on the sessions you generate, and this causes the pain at the end of the day. So this will become also a reason in the charging industry. If you are talking about billions of charging sessions, maybe a month or a year on the CPO side. So that's, I would say, definitely a pain. And this is quite similar to that.
Yeah.
On the other side, technology, yes, as I said, platforms are similar.
On top of this, Wulf, we're today here at a special place, right? We are here at the location where tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, September 2nd to September 4th, we will host the Interchange Network Conference, as you mentioned, one of the events you're already participating since such a long time. And we are here in the middle of setting up everything, so therefore also we hear a bit background noises, and I think it's also a good picture for how the industry looks like, right? We are still setting up the industry altogether. Looking forward in the next days, what do you think, what kind of discussions you will have, what topics you will talk about, having thousands of people from the industry joining this event?
So when I was here first time, we had 50 people or something like that, or 100, between 50 and 100. I still can remember the site and the kind of communication. And nowadays, what we have seen that I had so many requests in the front of the event. Hey, Wulf, can we talk? So this is one of the networking events where you have to be honest. If you're dealing with or making something with EV charging, then you have to go to ICNC. So I would say this is the worldwide, the one and only, where you have to be. All others, well, to be honest, you
appreciate it.
Yeah, it is like this, I have to say.
Thanks.
And I'm quite open because as you know, I'm on multiple conferences worldwide.
Joining
so from that point, it's a must go.
Yeah.
On that point, yes, collaboration is one topic.
Okay.
And collaboration, I would say, is one of the things where you see that customer experience at the end or the outcome of this. So if you talk with others, if you compare what you have, what you want to do, then it's always kind of, we want to improve something. Or we will want to build something from scratch, which is also not so popular like maybe 5 years ago and 6 years ago. But you see that there are still some new, well, let's say, inventions coming up. We have seen lots of AI topics in the last year. I would say this year it's being more commercialized on that level. So that's one issue what I want to see and want to even feel how the development will go on within the next 3 days.
That's it. Great topics. Thanks for sharing this with us, Wulf. Maybe sticking a bit to the AI topic. I'm also super excited about all the trends and innovations we're seeing right now based on AI. And probably it's just the starting point, right? There will be even more impact. One of the major impacts we are seeing right now based on AI is that it also reduces complexity setting up specific solutions, right? You can even now build websites and apps as a non-engineer. Probably not the best ones, but at least you can start with something. And I'm thinking about all the time, yes, of course, in the beginning, AI is a great topic for a lot of service providers. But taking into account that AI also makes things easier, don't we see in the future, a bit similar to what you mentioned with the software platforms and backend systems, that more companies can set up their own AI solutions because it's very easy? And how is that then materializing into specific business models for service providers as well? Really looking forward to see a better direction on this, but right now, as excited as you, but probably on the long run, not sure if that will really be the big business opportunity we're looking for.
Yeah, so I'm also quite skeptical on that topic because if you come from the telco industry, you know these developments, especially on service levels, you have to fulfill at the end of the day. So SLA topics are always in discussion. If you're talking on AI-based solutions, so you want to improve something, so you have to change your service levels as well. What I have seen right now is, well, I would say the first level you can tackle with AI solutions. So there are lots of apps which are focused on this, but from my point of view, it's not enough. So maybe you can reach the level 1.5, but on level 2, it's still stuck a bit. And that means someone has to take hands on and he has to be, I would say, also sure that he makes the right moves. And this is the way where I haven't seen any AI platform yet. Maybe tomorrow, or let's
Maybe
see.
in the next days, yeah.
But this is from my side, not the full, how I say, first level support or first level services. That is handleable via AI. But even if you go back to a third level, talking with hardware manufacturers, for example, or software engineers who have defined some issues or have seen some issues in the platform. So that's critical, I would say. And to bring all the pieces together, this is still a challenge. And so a simple app will only help for the end customer side, but you also need, how to say, the engineering side in the back to optimize this. What is maybe not the right way, so maybe you can optimize it on the code side as well. So this is, I would say, the challenge. So talking about OCPI and so on, you know this quite good as well. So from that point, these are the challenges on AI.
Understood. Yeah, let's then looking forward. What are the discussions you're having in the next days, and maybe you should do then a second edition of our podcast. Sticking a bit to AI, and you already mentioned this, reliability, one of probably the most intense topic in our industry. And I remember that we even focused a lot on this topic last year at the last year's edition of ICC. Frankly speaking, if I'm now looking into the data, we can assess a subject where we're also seeing a lot of details on how specific networks are running, how specific hardware manufacturers are even running. I would even say we haven't made any improvement happen since 1 year, maybe even longer. And I'm wondering all the time by myself, what is needed to finally make a move as an industry to really work more jointly on the whole reliability topic? Because we all agree reliability is not that there where it should be, right? First time to success rates are by far not yet reached what we need to reach in regards of a mass market environment. What is your thinking? What do you think maybe are the challenges you're facing as an industry to really move forward and getting from 80% to 95, 99, maybe even 99.9% somewhere in the future?
So I came from the industry where 99.5% were standard. And this is especially if you talk about someone from IT and telco industry. So networks in Germany, especially if you run a big VPN network or something like that, they were all talking about 99 point something. And this costs, of course. The question is, how is the business, how is say going on, as you said? I would say that what is currently missing from my side, we have also undefined wordings in the market.
Okay.
So the one says, well, I make my own wording, and this means I have a service level of 99 point something like that. And there are others which are doing, how would say, a different job, and they have a 95% or something like that. But in an average, if you take a look into the data of the charger, you see that, for example, the 95 has a total different, how to say, even a better output than the 99 point something like, because, well, someone is shaping on the data, and then you know that this is, I would say, a different world coming up, that we are not measuring with one, how I say, view on that. And that makes me a little bit, I would say, also disappointed, because, well, you can see this also on platforms like LinkedIn or on videos, YouTubes, and so on, that there's always someone who's trying to backloop the mainstream, and the mainstream we need to get accepted from the mass market. And if you always build, how to say, a second or third solution beside the mainstream, then I would say it will not help to get, how to say, commoditized, or EV charging get commoditized in the industry.
Yeah, exactly. Reaching the mass market environment, right? That's what we're all looking for in regards of transactions, as you perfectly described, but also in regards of reliability of reliable solutions. I understood your perspective on the challenges. How do you foresee if this should move forward? Is that something regulation needs to solve, or do you see any other stakeholder who could start having more specific conversations on something like the glossary, right? That's a bit of the outcome of what you said.
Yes.
That we name things differently, and therefore it's challenging to compare things. But now that setting up a joint definition of topics sounds possible, I would say. But whom do you see in charge of this?
So at the end of the day, I think the major players have to take care on that. I'm not convinced that building alliances on that level would help. I could imagine that there will be some major players coming up to say, okay, this is a standard defined, and we keep this in Europe. Maybe the US could be different, or in China, depending on different, how to say, movements in the market. So that's also depending on. So as you've seen, or maybe have read that in China, they have roughly 16 million chargers now in the market. So this is different to that one we have in Europe overall. So from that point, far away. But so I think we have to bring these pieces together and also have a clear view on, how to say, building in Germany, you say the Leitplanke. So the bump areas behind or close to the motorways where you do not go outside the motorway or fly from the street. So this is the way where I would say we need some guidance. Who is doing that? Oh, well, there are lots of organizations in the market like Jarin or other players, Europe E and so on, Charge Europe. So I would say there are Charge Ger, now new founded. So from that point of view, I think this is a part where the organization should take care on to standardize these wordings. And as you said, building a glossary, I would say, is not that complex.
Let's see. Let's have a look on it in 1 year time where we are, but looking forward to it. Again, we are here at the place where the Interchange Chapter conference takes place. We spoke about your expectations. Thank you, by the way, for sharing this. What do you think will be the key insight you will generate in the next days? If you need to guess, right? Of course, we don't know yet what we don't know, but what do you think will be most of the discussions about you will have in the next couple of days?
So I have seen a lot of EV charging activities worldwide, and there are some markets where I would say they are ready, or they are more than ready to run the business or to start in the business. Maybe there are some which are coming up where I would say, okay, this is very helpful for the industry. So bigger ones. So from that point of view, hopefully we can, how to say, spread the word much better than last year. So with more output for us, but to be honest, we had some challenging years behind. So as you also mentioned before, it's not a hockey stick, or it's not going all in the hockey stick movement. So sometimes it's good to have these kind of downsizes and, how to say, reflections of the business. So restart it somehow or change some things. So this is the typical loops you have. I think we still in the topic that there are some, how to say, downsizes coming or downturns coming. So we will see some players struggling in the next, I would say, 6 to 12 months, definitely, from my point of view. But it's always good to have also, I would say, fresh blood in the market or fresh players in the market coming up, which helps to have, how you say, new innovations a little bit more brought into the game.
Yeah, understood. Maybe if you don't mind, I would love to discuss this a bit more in detail, because I fully share your perspective, right? There will still be a bit of a consolidation happening. And would be interesting to hear from you in a second, what do you think are the reasons why some companies will probably leave the market? Do they have the wrong business model, the wrong setup, maybe the wrong management? Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Maybe just a remark on the consolidation. And of course, as you know, a subject, there's a bit of a link between our business model and the number of players. Not that much, but there's a link. But looking a bit into the facts we are right now seeing in the market, then I think only Germany has nearly doubled the number of operators in the last 2 years, where we have nowadays nearly 1,600 companies officially registered as CPOs in our German registry for EV companies. So therefore, as much as I hear your words and words from other stakeholders, but as a matter of fact, it seems the market is still growing a lot, even if some companies are leaving now the market. So what are your thoughts about this? Why is that still happening? Is it just a German trend, or do you see this all around the world? What is your perspective?
So what we have seen in the last, let's say, 24 months, we have seen lots of consolidation activities. So companies has been sold, or been gone. That's the normal way of life, especially if you had hockey stick times where growth was 250% each month or something like that. So from that point, I say this is a normal development in the market. It's also healthy to clean the floor a bit, to be honest, what I see, because we have seen lots of companies coming up and leaving after 12 months, 18 months. And well, where you would have said, okay, I don't believe in the business model. So from my point of view, well, I have seen lots of players coming and going, and there are also still players for sale, also larger ones. So that's also a challenge for them to find the right investor or the right partner to jump on. From my side, I would say it's too much in Germany, and maybe we had these developments also in the IoT world with platforms in the, I would say, 10 years ago on the same size. Everyone was building cloud services and IoT platforms and so on. Nowadays, you might have maybe 50 left or 60 left. In Germany, maybe 20 left, something like that. In Europe, maybe 50, 60. But this is how it works, I would say, especially focusing on the pure business. So this is, I would say, the normal way of life in the industry.
That's it. Thank you. Super insightful. Wolf, maybe one last question, and then I'm happy to move further. When you see these companies, a lot of companies also just starting to do their business, right? Especially in front of the ICNC, we have seen a lot of announcements of EV experts setting up new companies.
Yes.
What would make you invest into such a company? What do you think you would like to look for if you have some money left and you would be asked, hey, do you want to invest? What would be required from your point of view to be willing to invest into such a company?
So from my background, you know that I was also doing M&A in the also 2000s for telcos.
Yeah.
And I decided in 2019 to ramp up the startup business, especially in Europe or in Germany, as you might know as well. Started with Encharge, still existing. There are only 2 players which have been sold yet. So the one was Switch, to believe, and the other one was a startup for fleets in Australia called Fleetsu to Toyota. All other startups like FlexiCharge, found from Norway, also founded 1.5 years ago on truck charging activities, still existing. And so I think I have a good nose, I would say, or something like a good smell on that, where you can jump in, help the guys from the technology side as well as from the investor side to grow the business. So where I would go in, of course, we have to take a look into AI, but AI only is, from my side, not enough. So you need a use case or a business case, and we are talking about truck charging, and nowadays we are talking also about, how to say, construction vehicles be electrified. We are talking about tractors, whatever, dumpers, and so on. So this is a way where the business works to or is running to. And there you have to be, how to say, also always one step ahead of this development. That's what I'm trying to do. So a typical advice for you, I would say, of course, if you go into truck charging, it's still a upcoming business. On the one hand side, optimizing the journey for the drivers. On the other side, you see some developments also on the depot side. So optimizing the depots as well for buses, electric buses, as well as for trucks. So these are the challenges at the moment on my side. And even it's a depot where we were working in a project in Saudi Arabia with 150 buses from a new city being built, driving from the site to Riyadh downtown. So building all the necessities you have to bring if you provide these kind of services. That's a part of my daily job. There are lots of, I would say, use cases which are still interesting itself to run them and to optimize.
Thanks. Sounds a bit like the Warren Buffett of the EV industry. Yeah? So probably you should
that's
also
a nice word.
launch
Never heard
some
before.
ETFs or something like that by yourself, so that we can.
But I'm not 96, or how old is Warren at the moment?
Yeah, but I think he was also younger before. But probably we should look out then for your next investment.
Maybe in 40 years or 60 years.
Probably, yeah, to just join join this. Super insightful. Thanks, Wulf. Let's now come to the last part of this podcast, and that's a bit more, how do you see right now trends moving forward? At the Interchange conference, we will discuss in the next days all together what are probably the next big trends. Do you already have an assumption how the industry will look like end of this year? So you mentioned consolidation, but you also mentioned growth. You mentioned alignment in the industry, maybe by bigger players first. What do you think how the industry will look like end of this year, end of 2025?
Well, the question is, we still have some open topics like vehicle to grid, vehicle to home, vehicle to load, vehicle to something. I think if we can reach these targets to activate this, because as you know also quite well, we were discussing about vehicle to grid since more than 10 years. So also ISO 15118 is one topic which has to be, implemented, not only nationwide, I would say worldwide.
That's what the regulation is requesting for, right?
This is exactly the topic. So we are talking, of course, about regulation and so on. In some markets, it's easier than in others. And so from that point of view, I would be happy if we can handle this a little bit more in a joint forces approach. Because in the past, it was not like this, I would say. It was, 5 people were playing against each other. At the end of the day, they came together and said, they talked with each other, but the output was nothing, to be honest, or not visible, or not, feasible, or even came out where I would say, okay, we took the next step into the business.
Yeah, I think I share your point of view that collaboration is very important.
Yes.
And also challenging as well, right? Because you need to find a sweet spot, so to say, where everyone can agree and it's not harming your existing business model too much. Focusing a bit on regulation and then ISO 15118, but that's now in place, right? It's regulated. So from next year on, ISO 15118-2 is requested for all public and private charge points, and the year after, in 2027, it's requested to implement ISO 15118-20.
We have to start right now, not when
I agree.
When it's getting,
I just wanted to ask you, do you see already that a lot of companies are taking care of these requirements, or what is your impression right now?
Yes, I would say it's coming slowly. So I would say the amount of requests into my direction, they moved up from, I would say, in the last years, maybe 1-2 per year. Maybe nowadays, I would say I had already 10, 12, something like that. So you see that this movement is a little bit more attractive for investors to take a look on the business case.
Interesting to hear. Yeah, then let's look forward. What is then happening in the next couple of months? Wulf, thanks again. Super insightful. Thanks for this great conversation, and have a great time in the next days at the Interchange conference.
Thanks, Christian. It was a pleasure, and hopefully we're gonna have the past discussion soon. What was the output of the Interchange conference?
Exactly.
So happy to see you back again. And
second edition, exactly.
As you know, our offices are only 250 meters away in Schöneberg. So you're invited to join us.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.